You ever walk into a courtroom and feel every set of eyes just lock on you like you're carrying some secret nobody's ready to hear? Yeah, that's how it started for all of us, honestly, but especially for Lily. I mean, picture this. The courtroom's packed, everyone's fidgeting, reporters with their notebooks and cameras, lawyers pretending they got it under control, cops watching every corner, and in the middle, a 3-year-old kid holding a stuffed rabbit in one hand and the leash of this massive, stone-calm police dog in the other. That image just stays with you, you know what I mean? Like, you can feel something's about to happen, and nobody's breathing quite right. Lily Anderson's sitting there, so tiny she could disappear in that huge wooden chair, and she keeps glancing at the judge, the guy accused of hurting her, the whole circus. It's her first time in court, and honestly, she's the youngest witness anyone's ever seen take that seat in our town's history. They had to make all sorts of changes for Hera Little Chair, tons of breaks, and most important, Max. Now, Max isn't just any dog. He's this retired police K9 who's seen more action than most adults in Maplewood. But that day, he's all about Lily, not letting anything touch her literally or emotionally. You could feel the tension. People say kids don't remember trauma, but let me tell you, everyone in that room knew she was the only shot at justice. The defendant, Carl Breener, looked put together like the kind of guy who'd coach Little League or grill hot dogs at the 4th of July, but the mask slipped every time Lily glanced at him. And that told you more than a background check ever could. See, Carl had been a foster dad for years, Swell-liked, supposedly squeaky clean, the guy who'd pass every inspection, charm every social worker, the whole 9 yards. But stuff started to not add up. Bruises on kids' arms and legs that nobody could explain, kids getting moved out suddenly, neighbors hearing screaming at odd hours. One teacher flagged it, then a neighbor called it in, and slowly the ugly truth crawled into the light. And at the heart of it all was Lily. She didn't talk for months after getting taken out of Carl's house. It was like someone hit mute on her soul. The DA built a case on physical evidence and expert testimony, but without someone to look the jury in the eyes and say, that's him, it felt shaky. So when Lily came in, holding that leash, everyone in both sides held their breath. The prosecutor kneeled down to her level, gentle as could be, asking if she knew why she was there. She barely nodded, rabbit pressed to her chest, and her little fingers white-knuckled around Max's leash. For a minute, it felt like the whole city paused. Then Lily looked up, eyes searching the room, and landed on a tall man in a suit. Maybe she was just grounding herself. The air in the courtroom got thick. Everyone knew what was coming. Meanwhile, outside, you had Lily's social worker Marie, her therapist Dr. Helen Marks, and a handful of reporters waiting for any scrap of news. Marie's the kind of person who doesn't back down. She visited Lily everywhere: hospital, shelter, foster home, always pushing for her to get help, always fighting to make sure her voice would count for something. Dr. Marks, she's patient, understands trauma isn't linear. Sometimes, the real hero isn't the one on the stand, it's the one who taught the witness how to talk again. Back in the courtroom, the judge, a sharp-eyed woman who'd seen every trick in the book, kept things moving. She wasn't just running a trial. She was presiding over a reckoning. The prosecutor asked again what happened in Lily's house, and Lily just kind of shrank in on herself, Max scooting closer, putting his big head in her lap. When she finally lifted her finger and pointed, barely even saying the words, "that one," the whole room went dead quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. Even Max seemed to stiffen, a low warning rumble in his chest. That was the moment it all changed. Carl's lawyer tried to argue it could have been anyone, that kids get bruised all the time, that Lily's trauma made her unreliable, but the jury wasn't buying it. The prosecution brought in doctors who explained the bruises weren't from playing, therapists who said the stories from kids kept matching up, and social workers who'd noticed kids vanishing from Carl's care overnight. But there's always a twist, right? At one point, the defense produced an old neighbor who said she'd never seen anything weird, try to paint Carl as a scapegoat for a broken system. For a minute, people started second-guessing themselves had they rushed to judgment. But then Dr. Marks brought up something that hit home for everybody. She described a therapy session where Lily, shown a photo of Carl, immediately recoiled and clung to Max like her life depended on it. Max, trained to sense stress, barked for the first and only time in front of DR. Marks. It wasn't just what Lily said, it was how every instinct in her body screamed danger. As the days rolled on, the story moved from whispers behind closed doors to loud public outrage. Reporters ran with it, community groups started demanding reforms, and for once the town actually listened. People showed up to meetings, the mayor got involved, new rules were pushed for background checks, mandatory visits, more support for foster kids. But let me back up a sec. The real battle was happening inside Lily's new home. After the trial started, she was adopted by Sarah and Michael Anderson, a couple who'd been prepping their house for her and Max, wanting nothing more than to build a safe place where she could start fresh. Those first few weeks, it was all about routine. Breakfast at the table, reading stories, park trips with Max by her side, lots of therapy with DR. Marks. Healing, like DR. Marks always said, isn't a straight line. Sometimes Lily would laugh and play like nothing ever happened, and other times the shadows crept back in, and all she wanted was to curl up with Max in a quiet corner. Max wasn't just some extra character. This dog understood when Lily needed a nudge, a head in her lap, or just a little space. He kept watch, always between her and the world, like a four-legged shield. And he helped her trust again bit by bit. But don't get it twisted, Maplewood wasn't magically fixed overnight. Even after the verdict, Carl got found guilty on all counts, the whole room erupting into relief and tears, and a couple people just quietly nodding, because sometimes that's all you can do. It wasn't over. The court refused a retrial. The judge hammered home the consequences, and outside, the press swarmed Sarah and Michael. They didn't gloat. They just said, "This is for Lily and every other kid who's been too scared to speak." You could see the hope and exhaustion written all over their faces. As weeks turned to months, change kept rolling. The local government reviewed policies, teachers got trained on spotting abuse, the police learned new ways to handle child victims. Marie, Lily's social worker, was tapped to lead a task force on foster care reform. Neighbors brought food, sent cards, even offered to babysit so Sarah and Michael could catch a break. Every little win mattered. The first time Lily played with another kid at the park. The night she slept through with no nightmares. The day she hugged Max and grinned so wide you forgot she'd ever been afraid. But there were rough days too, days when old fears popped up, when progress felt like it was moving backward. The Andersons, they just kept loving her, patient, gentle, never rushing her to be better. On the anniversary of the verdict, the town held a celebration in the square balloons for every kid who deserved a voice, banners about protecting children, speeches from the mayor and Marie. Lily walked with Max through the crowd, face shining with a kind of hope you couldn't fake. As the sun set, she let go of a handful of balloons, each one floating up for a child who still needed to be heard. And you know what? The story didn't end with a jail sentence or a parade. Healing's messy, and nobody pretended it was all sunshine. There were setbacks, new challenges, and days that just plain hurt. But Lily had her family, her dog, her community, and something even stronger, a voice. Max stayed right by her, proof that sometimes the greatest heroes are silent, steady, and covered in fur. So here's the thing, justice isn't about one verdict, or one law, or one town waking up. It's about deciding every single day that you won't let fear or silence win. That you'll listen to the voices that matter, even if they shake, even if they're small. Lily's journey isn't over, but the path is brighter than anyone dared hope. And Maplewood? It'll never forget what it learned from one little girl and her dog. Now I gotta ask, though, you think this town finally got it right? Or is there more work to be done? You tell me. Drop your thoughts below. Where's the line between justice and closure? When does a community's duty end? Let's talk about what real change looks like and how you'd fight for it where you live.